Hello everyone and welcome to the 3 of my 100 days of food education. Thank you so much for staying tuned, and I'm still your girl, Shefly, the culinary headmistress. And today we are looking at a very important topic, and that's measurement. So today we are learning how to measure ingredients correctly. The topic is measuring ingredients correctly. And we have a learning objective. Like we do have learning objectives. At the end of this lesson, everyone who watches this video should be able to understand the how, the what, and the why. Accurate measurement matters in baking. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to know the how, the what, and the why of accurate measurement. Okay, that being said, let me put this thing straight. Let it sit well inside of you. You must understand measurements in baking. You must understand measurements if you want to have a consistent product. If you want to have that same product every time, if you make a nice cake, somebody this cake is so nice. Can I have something like this? If you don't have a measurement, then you will not have that same product again. That means if you want a product that is consistent, you must understand measurement. There's no two ways about it, right? Okay, so let's get started. Now we're looking at the how. How do you measure? How to measure correctly. Now look at it. I have 2 cups of sugar here, right? This is a cup, this is a cup. Now when somebody say give me a cup of sugar, and in baking, if it's in any other kind of space, you could, this is a cup of sugar, this is a cup of sugar. But when it comes to baking and somebody says a cup of sugar, this is not a cup of sugar. This is a cup of sugar leveled. So this is how to measure. When you are in baking space, when you're in the baking world, this is how you measure. Unless the recipes tells you otherwise. And funny enough, being in the baking industry for over a decade, I've hardly come across a recipe that tells you a heap of this, heap of this. No, it is always leveled. Now, this is how to measure. How to measure. Okay, so we'll move to what measurement, like how what is the what in the measurement aspect. When it comes to the what of measurement, there are 2 things you should concern yourself about. Um, the weight, making use of scale, or the volume, making use of cups and spoons. So when it comes to, somebody tells you, oh yeah, measure something now, measure this ingredient. Is either you are using the scale, or you are using the cup, the measuring cup, not just any cup now, the measuring cup or the measuring spoons. Now, when it comes to scale, you are looking at weight. What is weight? Weight tells you the the weight of an ingredient. It tells you what an ingredient weighs. That is weight. When it comes to cups, we are dealing with volume. Volume tells you the space an ingredient occupies or take. So this is weight, checks the weight of something. Scale checks the weight of something, but cups checks the space an ingredient occupies. This checks space, this checks weight. Please get this and get this straight. We'll be looking into this further. That will be day 4. But for now, just understand that when it comes to what of measurement, we are looking at the scale and the measuring cups and spoons. Now we'll go to the why of measuring. Why do we have to look at why? Why do we need to measure? You need to measure because baking is very sensitive, very, very sensitive. Like the first time, the day 1, if you have not checked that video, you might need to go back to check it. Baking is a controlled environment. Because it's a controlled environment, it is sensitive. It doesn't take anyhow. Remember, right? Okay, so you have to be very careful in measuring when it comes to baking, because baking is sensitive. If you have to check the if you don't bake using your measurement, like you're like anyhow, you will have issues, because it's going to affect the texture of your cake. is going to affect the taste of your cake, not just cake, now any baked products. It will affect the texture, it will affect the taste, it will affect the structure, and so many other things. So that is the why of measurement. Baking is sensitive. It is a controlled environment. You have to follow measurement, otherwise your product will not be consistent. And you don't want that in your baking journey, right? So that is the we have looked at the how, the what, and the why of baking. If you know all those three things together, then I tell you have a solid baking foundation. All this we've been dealing with have been baking fundamentals. And if you know them very well, I tell you your foundation of baking will be very, very strong. And I'm sure you've learned something amazing from this lesson today. If you have learned something really, really nice, I'm sure you want to like this video, you want to comment, you want to share, you want to follow, you want to subscribe. Please do well to do all that. And I'll see you in class tomorrow. Guess what? Tomorrow class is going to be very deep. We are going deep into measurement. Please don't miss it for anything. And I'll see you in class. Bye-bye.